Well, hello and welcome to our Pathway Assembly. It's good to see you. My name's Ashley. Today I'm Zookeeper Ashley. And this is Lena, or Zookeeper Lena, because we're looking at the Bible Zoo this series, looking at animals in the Bible and what we can learn from them as we think about something that Christians believe, which is what we're going to do today. Lena, aren't you excited about the assembly? You're looking a little bit sort of down in the dumps there.
Well, David set off one of my Easter eggs and now it's broken into lots of little pieces.
Oh dear.
I know, right? And now I can't eat it anymore because it's going to be bottom flavored.
Ugh. Well, was it an accident? Did he say sorry?
Well, he did, but I'm still going to sneak over and steal one of his Easter eggs. And then he'll see what it looks like when he loses an egg.
Oh dear. I'm not sure it's worth ruining your friendship over an Easter egg. Shouldn't you forgive him or something?
Well, if he buys me a new egg, I will.
Oh dear. I think Lena needs to learn something from today's Bible story, don't you? It's about friendship and forgiveness. So, I tell you what, Lena, why don't you help everyone out there get ready for the story, and I'll go and get ready too.
Alright, perfect. Okay, boys and girls, I think somewhere around here should be a picture of an animal that is today's animal of the Bible. So if you can spot a picture, maybe somewhere around here. Oh, a rooster. I guess that is today's animal of the Bible, isn't it? Oh, you know what? It says something on the back. It says cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle-doo. What do you think that means? That's the sound a rooster makes, isn't it? Cock-a-doodle-doo. But you know what? It says more. Look. Cock-a-doodle-doo. What you gonna do? You said you're friends with Jesus, but is it really true? That must be what our story is about today. Very interesting. So, do you think you can say those words with me, everyone? That would be great. Cock-a-doodle-doo. What you gonna do? You said you're friends with Jesus, but is it really true? Well done, everyone. So, whenever I hold up the picture of the rooster and then the words, could you join in with those words during the assembly, please? That would be great. Okay, I think we have a special guest coming now, and that is Peter. Come on in, Peter. And Peter is one of Jesus' friends.
Yes, hello everybody. My name's Peter. I used to be a fisherman. Yes, it's a bit smelly, but I spend most of my time out on the boats, catching fish. That was until one day when Jesus came along and he said, "Peter, come, follow me." There was something about Jesus that made me want to just leave my nets in the boat and follow him and go wherever he went. And I was glad I did, because Jesus did some amazing things. Wherever Jesus went, crowds of people would come to listen to him speaking about God and doing amazing things. He could walk on water. He could turn water into wine. He could make sick people well again. He even brought someone back from the dead. I knew there was something special about Jesus, something out of the ordinary. And wherever Jesus went, I went. I was like his best friend. And one day, Jesus and his friends and I were having a meal together when Jesus said something very strange. He said that he was going to die, but that he was going to die for a special reason, so that people could be made friends with God again, and that we could be forgiven. Well, I didn't understand what Jesus was talking about. I wasn't going to let anything bad happen to Jesus, even if that meant I had to go to prison. I would always be there for him. Well, that's when Jesus said to us that one of his friends at the table was going to be the one to betray him, to get him into trouble. Well, I would never do anything like that. Nuh-uh. That's when Jesus said to me, "Peter, before the rooster crows today, you will say 3 times that you don't even know me."
Cock-a-doodle-doo. What you gonna do? You said you're friends with Jesus, but is it really true? Well, it's quite easy to like someone when they're nice to you, isn't it? But it's hard when when they let you down. It's hard to like them when they let you down. And Jesus, he knew everything about his friends, every single thing. And he also knew that they would let him down. But you know what that means? That Jesus, he knows everything about you guys and about me. He knows our good days and our bad days. But he still loves us no matter what. And I find that very impressive. I wonder if I could love my friends like that.
Well, I knew that I would never let Jesus down. And he asked if we could go out to the garden with him. Because even though he wanted to do what God wanted, he was still afraid of dying. And so we went out to the Garden of Gethsemane. But it was late, and I was tired. And before I knew it, I was falling off to sleep. Jesus came back and found me sleeping. Whoa! And I said, "I'm sorry, Jesus. Couldn't you even stay awake for a minute?" he said. Well, that's when we saw our friend Judas coming. He was bringing some soldiers with him to arrest Jesus, but I wasn't going to let that happen. So I grabbed my sword, ready to fight them off. "Get back!" But that's when Jesus said, "Don't fight." And he just let them arrest him and take him away. Well, I followed on at a distance to see what would happen, whilst they decided what they were going to do with Jesus. But it wasn't a very fair trial. They were saying all sorts of lies about Jesus. Jesus hadn't done anything wrong. I kept myself warm in the courtyard by the fire. And that's when someone said to me, "Hey, you're a friend of Jesus, aren't you?" "No," I said. "I don't know Jesus." "Yes, you are," said another person. "I saw you with him yesterday." "That's not me. You're thinking of someone else," I said. And a third person said, "It's definitely you. You're from the same place as Jesus is. You're one of his disciples." And that's when I said in a big voice, "I don't know him." Then I realised what I had done as Jesus looked at me from across the courtyard. I'd said 3 times that I didn't know him, just like Jesus said I would. And that's when the rooster crowed.
Cock-a-doodle-doo, what you gonna do? You said you're friends with Jesus, but is it really true? Jesus was right. Peter would let him down to save his own skin. And I think we all have times where we let other people down, or we maybe let God down. And even the Bible says none of us are perfect, but there are so many things we need to say sorry for. But you know what? The good thing is that this story doesn't end here.
I'd really let Jesus down. And now I didn't know if I was going to have the chance to say how sorry I was, because Jesus was being led away by the soldiers. They were laughing at him and spitting at him and hitting him. They were leading him away to a hill where they would kill him by nailing him to a cross. As Jesus died, though, he said something amazing. Because if it were me, I'd be in a lot of pain and I'd be angry. I might say something like, "I hate all of you for doing this to me," or "I'll get you back." But Jesus didn't say that. He said the opposite. He said, "Father," talking to God, "forgive them." Forgive them? Forgive the people that are killing you? How could he do that? Well, maybe if he can forgive them, then he can forgive me too. Well, when Jesus died, he was buried in a tomb, like a cave. And 3 days later, one of Jesus' followers called Mary went to go and visit the tomb. She came running to tell me. She said, "Peter, Jesus' body isn't there anymore. It's disappeared." So I ran as fast as I could to see. And it was true. Jesus' body had gone. But where had it gone? Where could I find him? But it wasn't me who found Jesus. It was Jesus who found me. You see, a few days later, I was out on my fishing boat again, when a stranger, so I thought, called to me from the shore. "Have you caught anything yet?" he said. "Try throwing your nets on the other side of the boat." So I did. And before you knew it, there were so many fish in the net, we couldn't pull the nets up into the boat. Well, I know who does things like that. It must be Jesus. And so I jumped out of the boat, swam to the shore, and it was him. It was Jesus. He was alive. Oh, Jesus. And he said to me, Peter, do you love me? Yes, Jesus, you know I love you. I'm like your best friend. Then he asked me a second time, but do you really love me? Yes, Jesus, you know I love you. And then he asked me a third time. It almost began to hurt a little bit that time. Peter, do you really love me? Are you sure? And I said, Jesus, you know everything there is to know about everything. You must know that I love you. But why did he ask me 3 times? Then I remembered the rooster.
Cock-a-doodle-doo. What you gonna do? You said your friends with Jesus, but is it really true?
Well, this was amazing. I realized that I had said 3 times that I didn't know Jesus, and now he was giving me 3 chances to say that I did love him. He was giving me a chance to put things right, to fix our friendship again. Jesus had forgiven me. And do you know what? Jesus truly is the friend who forgives. And so I spent the rest of my life telling people about Jesus, the friend who forgives. And if we're friends with Jesus, that he'll forgive us again and again and again.
We sometimes think that a friendship can't be mended, or that it's so damaged that nothing could ever put it right again. But you know, Jesus showed us that even death could be undone. And for Christians, that is the big message of Easter, that Jesus died and became alive again as part of God's big rescue plan to fix our friendship with God. And you know that he came so that people just like you and me could be forgiven. And we do that by inviting Jesus into our hearts and asking for his help. And you know, Jesus really is the friend who forgives. And he didn't only forgive Peter. He died so that people just like you and me could be forgiving friends. And you know, that makes me think, Ashley, maybe I should forgive David for squashing my Easter egg, since God has forgiven me.
Well, I'm glad you learnt something from today's Bible story, Lena. And actually, I've got a little something for you. Look, I've got you an Easter egg. Isn't that good? Well, hopefully we've all learnt something from today's story about friendship and forgiveness. That big story that's important to Christians about how Jesus died and rose again so that we could be forgiven and that we could be forgiving friends too. So let's take a moment now just to think about perhaps if there's a friendship we need to fix or something we need to say sorry for or put right. Let's take a moment now to finish with. Well, thank you so much for watching today's video assembly, and we hope to see you again soon. Goodbye.
Bye.